That's the funniest part of this whole thing. Let's rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So first up, do we have anyone here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll table the rest of our public comment time to the end of the meeting. And does anyone have any school board member updates for your board committee assignments? You have a look? Yes.
We're working on dates for the first negotiations meeting, but
Yep.
it's in progress.
Yep. C and CESPA are both kind of underway, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Don't have anything big for PTAs on a break. Rec department is doing all of its stuff. If anybody still needs some last minute childcare over the summer, they do still have some spots left in Tuck Camp. So let's see, we're not going to do reports, which is fine. So are you ready to do introductions for the leadership team?
Absolutely.
All right. Come on down, folks.
Yes, come on down. So we're happy to welcome our new leaders who are started with us on July 1. We had our leadership retreat at the Cary Cottage in Portsmouth. We had 3 days filled with, jam-packed with all kinds of interactive sessions, and it's just a pleasure to welcome. I'll start at Center School, Mark Robitaille, who's joining us. We're thrilled to have him aboard. He comes from formerly the Bedford School District, where he was on the leadership team there, and previous to that, he was a teacher in the Exeter School District. So we welcome Mark Robitaille as he joins Jamie Hayward at Center School as our Center School principal, who's been very busy.
Busy so far.
Nice. Welcome.
Good evening. I just wanted to introduce myself. And school, I get to sit on some hiring teams in June, so it's good to get. There we go. It was good to get to know some of the staff and work with them, and then we've been housed over at Hampton Academy this summer as some of the capital projects get taken care of over at Center, so it's been cool to check in on ESY, see some of the staff work with the kids. But like Dr. Costa said, I'm coming over from Bedford as an assistant principal. I'm really excited to take the next step in my career and serve the students and families of the Hampton School District. So thank you for having me tonight. Look forward to working with you all.
Welcome. And then, of course, at Hampton Academy, we are so pleased to welcome Dr. Neil Campbell, who joins us from the Timberlane District, where he was on the leadership team there. And we are so happy to have you here at the helm of Hampton Academy.
Thank you, Dr. Costa. Yeah, I want to, again, thank you all for appointing me here. I'm super excited to be joining the team. I hope it's been really great to get to know everyone here, and I look forward to meeting all of you. Please feel free to come by, and we'll set some time apart so we can talk and get to know each other a little bit more. But I'm really hoping for great things over at the Academy. So thanks again, and we'll look forward to good things.
Thank you. Thank you.
And who are you?
I know, and a familiar face in a new role. We are so happy to have Amber Levine, who is joining us at Hampton Academy as the interim assistant principal. We are delighted to have her in her new role, and she is, I'm sure, just thrilled to be there, although she's going to miss our Monday morning meetings, I have a feeling.
Yeah, Neil and I have been very busy since Neil started on July 1st, and we're just excited to continue all the great work at Hampton Academy. And if anybody wants to stop by, we're here, so come see us.
Well, let's see. Do we want to get started on our paraeducator conversation. So this is a follow-up to the conversation about aides in the classroom. So one of the pieces, some of the information I asked Mariah for was, so there have been background conversations. I know that Nathan and I'm sure Mark have been looking at this because this, Neil, you guys don't have to worry about this right now. Trying to think about what these positions would look like, what the qualifications would be, what contracts they would be under. And I think the general conversation has been that these would be, if they were to exist, would be modeled on the kindergarten general aid positions that already exist. So I'd asked Mariah to look at, basically to come up with a baseline number for salary and benefits for that position. And then we were talking about one in every classroom that is not, that is, well, so I think we should look at the numbers, right? And so what did you come up with?
So I went off of the para contract.
Perfect.
Right?
Yep.
And added in health insurance and dental and life insurance and disability and taxes, and went with paras have either 6.7 or 6.5 hours. So, and then we have multiple categories for them, depending on if they have a associate's, bachelor's, or master's degree. We add a little bit to each degree. So it could start anywhere between $34,000 a year to $64,000 a year.
How many classrooms, based on last year's number, how many non-kindergarten 1 through 5 classrooms did we have last year? Do you know? 19 at Marston. So,
18.
okay, so if we do, I don't even have my phone out, so I don't have a calculator. Lois looks like she's doing the numbers.
But you don't, if
So.
18 includes kindergarten, you don't need it.
Oh, that's true. So how many were kindergarten?
Divided kindergarten classes.
Okay, so 19 and 12, so 31. And so 31 classes at, let's do the minimum of 34,000.
Would be $1,054,000.
$1,054,000.
Well, since Center School didn't ask, I would say let's concentrate on Marston and how many we could afford. Say one per, I don't know, but I think we need to address something, please. I'm sorry, Nick. I think we need to address some part where we got a request and followed up by some information. I think we need to give them some relief because the teachers at Marston School put in a hard year last year. And I feel they deserve some extra help. But I don't, we don't have $1 million to spend. We probably don't even have funded $500,000 to spend. But I think we need to give them something.
Is it something we might look at during budget time? I just know that, Mariah is always crunching these numbers because there's a couple things that come to mind. The first thing is, are we going to find them? I mean, that's question number one, where we haven't always been able to find all of the staff that we need. And of course, our principals can speak to that. I know we are still trying to fill positions right now. And we know that anything in special education is considered to be a critical shortage. That is really a problem for districts across the nation. It is not something that is, Hampton alone. I sit on a state board with New Hampshire ASCD. It is the conversation around the table at every meeting I go to where districts are struggling to fill anything related to special education. I'm just gonna put it out there. It's something that we talk about. We're not opposed to extra help. In fact, obviously, extra help is always extra help, and the children benefit when we have the extra help. I think the questions that Mr. Sadler brought to me, and I don't know if you had a chance to review them.
I read them, yeah.
So that the question becomes, what would be the criteria? And I think that Dr. DeSilva-Napton could speak to this as a special ed director. Mr. Sadler might be able to as the others, but we would have to have really a job description. We would have to think about what would the skills or attributes needed would be for the role. It might be, is there a person there to support behaviors or academics, or would it be both? I just don't.
I think it would be academics, because I think we have enough people and in place with the parents and the special ed director and the BAE and all of those people that should cover behavioral, although it didn't.
Yep.
And we had some serious, how many teachers left Hampton this year in June?
I don't know if we can, in my exit.
How many left Hampton this year?
I'm not sure.
You don't know how many teachers have retired or resigned? How many teachers in Hampton lost? You should know, you hired.
I would say maybe 10?
Only 10?
They're looking at numbers at the table over there.
Maybe now we're up to 12 with the two potentially?
And Dr. SAU90, you don't have to get up, but yes or no, have we hired all the para positions that are currently open? Do we still have open positions? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm always open for conversations when you want to tell me you want to add staffing. I think we all are we're all supportive of that. We just would need clarity around some of the questions that the administration at Marsden has put forward so that we can do this in a very judicious and thoughtful way.
How many teachers do we have altogether in the classroom? In Marston and Center?
Okay.
How many teachers do you have?
Classroom teachers.
19. Okay, how many left in Marston this year?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yep.
You didn't lose any classroom teachers?
Yeah, I did lose one. She is taking a new.
It was a case manager.
Yeah, but we had one teacher who is pursuing a other career
Oh,
within,
yes.
she went to
yeah,
pursue
yes,
secondary
yes, right.
education,
So
so.
one.
Okay.
Yes.
I lost a teacher who's going to be a school counselor, but she had to finish up her program, so.
Right.
That's really the reason I lost her, but yeah. And then a case manager who just decided to take a position in her home district.
Okay.
So I lost those two. I think what some of the staff too is, we were thinking about this, and you guys know I've been here a long time. I like to make informed decisions, so I like to know everything because it's easy for me to think, okay, here's exactly what I need because this is what this person is going to be doing for me. Like I have a very clear understanding of a special ed paraprofessional. We've had those. Where we haven't had a general aid, that's why I had a lot of questions. And so if I know all that stuff, then I could give you a better, like I need 6, because I would look at my whole student population, but then which rooms are already covered through special education and paraprofessionals who are one-on-one or two-on-one, et cetera. But we also, this year, were able to add, moving into next year, another RBT, which is a registered behavioral technician. And then we're able to utilize some space within our school. So if you remember years ago, the academy used to have a zones of regulation room. And I don't really know how they use it anymore. I haven't, I'm not here. But we were able to take part of our PT space, and with a little extra funding, we were able to get some furniture and things for that room. So we're trying to create a space where students who are dysregulated, not to the point where we have to call safety care, but students who just need a break from the classroom or a calming space. We've developed that moving into next year. We just haven't unveiled it to the full staff yet because we're still looking at entrance criteria and things like that, and working with our BCBA and our RBTs to kind of develop all that. But we are getting some support next year just within our building by reutilizing and repurposing some of those positions. But of course, extra hands is a great thing. Once we know a little more, then it's easier for me to look in and say, I need 6 or I need 7, because obviously we want to be supportive of the teachers and the children.
Would you have that information by October?
Yeah, because I think by then we'd probably answer some of those questions about I don't know if there's a kindergarten aide job description. I've never looked at it because I don't work at center. So, mirroring something like that into what this position is, and just kind of making a clear criteria. Because also when I go into the hiring, I like to, like this year I was hiring a clerical. It's easy for me to know exactly what that role and responsibility is as to what that person is doing. So if I have that outlined, it also helps when we post for jobs and we conduct interviews and all the next steps. So if we can work through the weeds a little bit, I think we'll see some light at the end of the tunnel and be able to make some informed decisions.
Okay. For center school, how many teachers do you have? How many left this year? Do you know?
I know that we lost.
Okay, so you lost two? And how many do you have? Oh, okay. Okay, Hampton Academy. We lost 8. Okay. Yep.
That's okay. 8 teachers, the psychologist, right?
It's included.
Yeah,
It's
they're
included.
They're part of
Oh,
it.
That's
that's
part of it.
counted? Okay.
6
That's
teachers,
part
a
of the
case
8.
manager was, yeah.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay, so you
Total.
lost. Okay.
So 12.
Okay.
So, we look at how do we fund it, right?
Right.
It's a non-funded position. Even if we know how many they are, we got to figure out how to fund it.
Yep.
Do we want to look at class sizes? How do you fund that?
I guess we look at it at the next budget season and realize that these positions are not special ed. They may work with some special needs at special ed, but they are not special ed program. They're for regular kids, regular ed kids, and they're to get some assistance in the classroom
Yep.
in case we have issues as we had last year.
Which is how it works with the general aides for kindergarten, right? Yes.
Yes, yes. they're in the
Each
classroom.
class has one, and they,
Yeah,
provide
I
general
just,
assistance.
There's
Yep.
no way we
Yep.
can do every class.
Right.
But I think we need to at least make a good effort to try to get some help in there for the regular teachers who are feeling the pinch.
Dr. SAU90, in the kindergarten classrooms, they often will sometimes have the general ed assistant and also a para if necessary,
Yeah.
right? Yes, depending on the needs of the classroom. Right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, thanks. Sorry, you don't have to go. So, we do have some visitors, so I don't know if anybody,
We do.
does anybody else have anything for right now about the para general ed assistant
Well,
positions?
it would seem to me that the principals need to put it in their budgets as we go, and for us to either say yay or nay, and some rationale and so on and so forth, and how many they truly think they need, and so on and so forth. And we will deal with it in late October, November budget. But for them not to be afraid to put it in.
Yeah. Right. Fair. Yep,
That make sense?
all right.
Thank you.
Okay, so I see at least one Winnicott graduate over there.
Well, can I just make a comment?
Of course.
So we had the pleasure, some of us who attended the Winnicott High School graduation back in June, and we had 5 students that were in the top 10, and I'm looking out and I'm seeing some familiar faces in the audience, and I'm so happy to see them. And I know that we had the privilege of having these students in our schools for a number of years, and I see the Kudalitis family, so I'm just so happy that you're here. And both Caitlin and Charlotte were in the top 10, and we are just so pleased and proud, along with Gavin DiNardo, Jessica Gelbstein, and Murphy Wall. And all 5 of these students are off to wonderful places. Caitlin is off to the Naval Academy, and Charlotte is off to Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute. Gavin DiNardo is off to the University of Connecticut. Jessica Gelbstein is off to the University of Massachusetts, and Murphy Wall is going to be in the UNH Honors Program. But we are just so proud and pleased, and we're so happy to see you tonight. And I don't know if you wanted a minute or. Yeah. Well, we're just so proud, and I think it's just always exciting to see what happens to our Hampton students, and it's a pleasure when you see them grow up, and they go on to these exciting careers, whether you run into them in Washington, D.C., because they're now working for the Pentagon, or they reached out to you through LinkedIn or some other social network to connect. It's just a pleasure. And I just want to thank you for coming tonight, and just congratulations and best wishes on your continued success. You know we like to continue to watch and see how you're doing, so thanks for coming.
Do we have summer updates?
I just wanted to let you know that summer program is in session. I know that it's very busy at Hampton Academy because the schools have a number of projects that are going on. And so I didn't know if Dr. De Silva Napton or if any of the principals want to chime in, because it is a busy place here, given the work that's being done at Center School. We have the principal and the assistant at Center School. Both Mark and Jamie are here as well, working out of the main office, along with, of course, Neil and Amber. So, and Mel Liebenow is also over here. Yep.
All I can say is that summer program is really running very smoothly, and thank you to you and all your staff and the buses and the littles and the bigs, and it's great. We have just under 100 kids and almost 50 staff working here, so pre-K to 8. It's going well. I walked around the other day, and they're happy and they're learning.
No, I think it's you know, we get into this business to be with kids, and it's just nice to have that energy in the building, you know, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And it's great for me as a new principal to step in and really start meeting with the students that we're going to be working with. And yeah, we pop into a bunch of the classes, and I think consensus is that it's very nice that it's all consolidated, and they were able to help transition some of the kids from Marston over to the new teachers that they're going to be having, while still seeing a familiar face that they've had for the past couple of years. So. But it's also nice to have Mark and everyone at Center School over at our place. It just fills the space, and it's nice to get to know everyone a little bit. You know, as you're stepping into a new role, just more familiar faces and more people you can bounce ideas off of. So, like I said, it's just been a great start, and we're happy to have everyone here. So.
Yeah.
Lois, how's your fall looking?
Well, the community students. No, we do not have any community student availability at this time. We filled the friendship program in the spring. We are anticipating, as usual, our preschool will, increase by at least one a month in all likelihood. So preschool is full. We have some openings that are critical, and we're looking to fill them. We now have a speech and language position available. We also have we still have our school psychologist. We'll be filling that with a contracted position until we find somebody to fill that role. So that is open, and we still have some para positions to hire. And a case manager at Marston. So we are I'm working hard with the principals to, fingers crossed, we're gonna have everything filled up by the fall. If not, what we will do is I work with the principals and the current staff, and we reach out to contracted service personnel. We pull them in part-time. We kind of stretch the people that we have on staff. We use everyone to the best of their abilities.
What's your preschool program population? Special needs and community do you have now? I'm sorry, Nick. How many do you have now in each class?
I did not bring those numbers with
Okay,
me.
but they're full now?
They are full now. The friendship, they are full.
How
Because
about the other ones? The special needs?
So we have
kids?
four, right, we have 4 classrooms.
Yep.
And each of the classrooms does have 2 or 3 friendship community children in it, and then the others. So each class is 8 or 9 or 10. 12 is the maximum.
Right.
So we do have to leave some slots.
So you will have room if somebody has a special needs child? and
Oh,
needs
yes,
the
we
program?
have to. Well, let me just add that, yes, If there is a child with special needs, we have to educate them. So there may come a time next year when I say preschool's full and we need another preschool classroom.
That's what I'm worried about.
So if it's one child, we can put them in a private school. We could service them in a different way if that works. If it's more than one or two or three, we need a whole other classroom. So that is definitely coming up at budget time for the committee to be thinking about how would we fund another preschool classroom. It's coming. It's definitely coming. For special ed only, so with a couple of friendship.
Because I'll tell you right now, all the private preschools are full.
Yep, it's
waiting
a huge problem statewide, and we are seeing the growth of our incoming preschoolers. And like I said, if they are 3 and they are identified and they live in Hampton, we have to educate them. And so we will need to figure out what to do differently. But at this time, right now, based on what we have, we're going to be okay, but we will be maxed out soon if other people move in that we don't know, or there's other 3-year-olds out there that we haven't already found out that they're, 2.5 and on their way. And I have looked at the projections. I've looked at, the town. I can get information about 2-year-olds, 2.5-year-olds. I have looked at that and projected out next year. It's going to be very tight. It's going to be very tight. So I will keep very close eye on the numbers, and at budget time, we will have that discussion about another preschool room. What does that look like?
Do we currently have the space for that?
That I need to talk to the principal over there, and we started conversations this spring. Of course, Mark and I need to sit down with Jamie and really look at the whole building. And that's the question that we're asking: where would we put another preschool?
Okay.
If not, we would look at our current, Hampton facilities. Is there any place out there that we could have who can we partner with? That's what sometimes other people partner with other places. So it's definitely a conversation that we're going to have to get creative about. But thanks for asking.
It's making me a little nervous.
I don't blame you. Yeah. I think we all need to be nervous. It's a huge state issue. We've all been talking about it. Our little ones are coming to us with more and more needs. And we are obligated, as I said, if they're 3 and they are identified, which means we test them. A parent comes to us when the child is 2, 2.5, or the early intervention comes and says, hey, we have a child turning 3. We are obligated to test. If they meet the criteria and they're identified on their 3rd birthday, they have to have an IEP in place and be receiving their services. So yeah, we're looking at it. And like I said, we started looking at it in the spring. I had a meeting with the principal, with Jamie, with the preschool teachers. We laid all the numbers out, and I'll be meeting with Mark to do the same thing. Thanks. Anything else?
I hate to put Mark on the spot. Do you know what your kindergarten number is right now?
We're about 78 right now.
I don't know what that was. Me? Okay.
So that's 18 per class.
Sorry, I didn't actually hear him because I was all distracted by the
78.
78. Okay,
So that's 18 per
That's
child-
pretty
per
low
class.
for.
18.
No,
and
it's
last
15
year.
and
Oh,
16.
no, I mean 78 is low.
Oh, that's right. You got, no.
I want to talk to you a little bit about it. Mark, do you want to talk a
we
little
have
bit about the
5?
numbers in kindergarten, depending on what we decide we want to do, but you wanna give them-
Running the numbers at 78, Mrs. Hayward and I looked at that recently. So right now, if we were at 5 classrooms, puts us about 16 students per room, 1 at 15, if that's no new registrations. If 6 classes, it'd be closer to 13, which would be, a pretty small class size. So that's where we're at right now. Mel has been out the last couple days, so I don't know if we have any new registrations on our desk, but 78 as of the end of last week.
And we can talk more about that in non-public if you want.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You want to go ahead and look at this check? Is that next on our list? We have a check from St. Vincent de Paul, it looks like, for the lunch program.
Mariah?
Yes, that was put in from Mary. It was a donation.
Yep.
Yep.
So I assume we need to move to accept that? Please? Would anybody like to?
I would move that we accept the check for $1,287.50
I'll second that.
from Society of St. Vincent de Paul.
Which is fantastic, because this looks like it is to cover part of, I assume, of our lunch debt. Is that what it's for?
It was for students that needed help. So since the year's already ended and that goes into the new year, it will be put in a fund for people that need
this coming
extra, for next year, for the extra pizzas and the extra, or if they're just lunch is over. Yep.
That's very nice of them. Okay, so, all in favor?
How much of the $5,000 that we were under in food service did we collect by the end of the year?
So, I have to clear out the collections every year, and then she can roll them over and then recollect them if she wants to, but they all have to be zeroed out per law. And the fund balance paid $5,570 to cover.
So we didn't collect anything of the money that was past due? in
That was
June?
all past due for
Okay.
June. That had to be zeroed out.
Yeah, 5,570.
And 70.
And 70, okay.
Ms. Curtis, you are next on our list.
Okay, so we'll start with food service because we're talking about it. But so we did have to pay that out of our fund balance to cover that. Mary Ken, we haven't in the past few years, especially since COVID happened, taken those funds and then put them back to the students as overages. We've just cleaned it up and just left it and started over. I believe that Mary's thought this year was to put those back into each student's account, just so that they feel like you can't not pay your debt. So that was the conversation we had. We'll see if we do that at the beginning of the year. So food service ended with a net loss of $8,844.92. This is before audit. Audit will come in. They do GASB, the in and out. So that might change a little bit. But they had a fund balance of, we've had a fund balance going since the COVID funds of $142,724. So that will cover that. So it's a wash. Then on our fund balance, if you go to the second page in the packet that I gave you, this is our retainage page, and it calculates for you how much you can retain each year. So I'm gonna start there, and our retainage is 5% of our warrant articles that were passed. So that 5% for this fiscal year to retain is $1,278,773. Last year was our first year that we actually retained some of our fund balance. We retained $293,705 and returned $135,141. So that $293,705 goes back into the fund balance, and then we have to retain again and start over. So we had revenues this year of tuition, regular ed, interest income, some prior year revenue, SPED aid, which it used to be called CAT aid, and then Medicaid. So our revenue surplus was $257,308.58. And then our estimated expenditure turnback is $205,584.05. So then we have the unassigned retainage fund balance that we held from last year, which was the 293,705. So that gives us $756,597.63. So, with that said, we can decide how much we want to hold in our contingency fund and how much we would like to return. I gave you my thought to kind of keep it where we were at last year with the percentage. But that is completely up to you. I do want to explain some of the things that happened this year because I was really nervous that we were going to be in the negative this year with all the special ed. We had so many expenditures, and so in March, we had you vote to utilize revenues if we needed. We had you vote to, if we had to, use the retainage for special ed. But in March, Lois, DK, myself, and Kim Bryant sat down and we updated all of our grants and put all of special ed transportation into the grants. We put a lot of the services into the grants. We put, we contacted we were getting a new contract with special ed, the transportation company and the events, and they lowered their contract with us. So we got a really good contract, and they started the rates in March for us. So we did a lot to adjust the funds because we were so nervous at that time because we had gotten extra students that we weren't anticipating. The transportation was out. We had a student that moved in that was instantly out of district. So there were a lot of things happening in special ed. They encumbered everything we possibly could. And so we moved a lot starting in March. And because of that, it kept our budget pretty flat to where that we could have close to the same or a little bit more outcome than last year. So, I guess it's just where would you guys like to contain for the contingency funds and how much you would like to return to the taxpayers with this? I definitely think we should.
Sorry.
We should keep some for contingency because you don't know what's going to happen, and it's definitely. I mean, we've had a lot of things happen this year. We had the boiler, we had asbestos. I mean, we had a lot of things that we did not even anticipate happen, special ed. So I definitely think it's a great idea to keep some, and that's really up to all of you to do.
I'll make a motion for discussion purposes that we retain $531,597.63, and we return $225,000 to the taxpayers.
Now, this may change a little bit
Okay,
once audit's done, but not,
okay.
not drastically.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
So we're retaining the money from last year and then some money from this year, correct? In a very simple way.
Yes, exactly. Because you have to put it back
Yep.
in, and then you can recalculate it, and then
Gotcha.
the max you could, this year, we'd be able to retain would be the million.
1.2 million.
Yes,
Okay.
but we don't even
So-
have that.
But we don't, yeah.
So obviously, we can do whatever we want.
Exactly. You
I-
could keep the whole thing, you could,
I'm just going along with your recommendation.
Right. Yeah.
And it's open for discussion.
I was just trying to, we usually try to return funds, the revenues that we collect as much as we possibly can. And I've just been trying to, we try to guesstimate it the same every year so that it's not up and down and up and down. So that's why I chose to return that percentage, because it's about average of what we normally have been. But that, like I said, and I do think that we should have a contingency fund. So it just really depends on which way you guys want to go with that percentage.
Anybody have any questions, thoughts?
I just want to make you,
Objections?
I just want to make you aware that I think that some of the concerns that we're thinking about as we think about these contingency funds that related to the previous conversation we had was the rising costs of special education, preschool, et cetera, right? I think the part that we can least prepare for, with the exception of an emergency, like a boiler or something of that catastrophic nature, is special education. And I think that's, and I know it's, this, right? I think what we're hearing is that the preschool numbers are, have been brought to our attention with their significant needs and the number of nonverbals. That seems to be something that's new for us, that we have a number of students that are coming in with nonverbal. They cannot communicate, which is going to require, right, programming. It's also going to require devices, and it's going to require instructional support for the students. And those are the 9 we know about. And we never know who will walk through the door between now and June 30th of next year. So I think that as Mariah and I talked about this number for retaining, we wanted to be thoughtful about it by being consistent with what we did last year. At the same time, we also want to be prepared should we need this contingency fee, which if we don't use, it goes back and we relook at this next year. This is,
We have to do it every year now.
yeah, so it's not like
So my
it's-
other thing is the grants. We really utilized the grants this year because we had to finish up ESSER and finish up IDA homeless and ARP. We had a lot of grant funds, and they're all going away. And then even the grants that we're getting this year are going to be less than they've normally been in the past, and that's how we fund 7 of our paras and stuff like that. So once, I don't think we're going to have the grant funding to utilize that we did anymore, so that's another reason why it would be very helpful to keep.
Right, with Title I, Title II, Title IV shrinking, that's not going to help us like it had in the past.
You ready to vote? Okay. All in favor of accepting or retaining $531,597.63 in the contingency fund? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, the food service had a unreserved fund balance of 142,724. You take away the 8844. Where's the 133,880 going to?
That goes right back to food service for next year.
Okay, so it doesn't get involved in the
No.
figures we just talked about?
Nope. The
Okay.
only time that food service gets involved in the fund balance is if it's negative
Okay.
and they don't have a fund balance, and my fund balance has to cover it.
Okay, so hopefully it's going
Which,
to last.
that's like, hopefully too, because then, I mean, we don't know, it's been averagely 50,000, but we changed the price in food this year, and, for next year. And this year, we've got a federal grant for 29,806 that was given to us. It was a percentage that was across the state for rising cost of food. So we did get that, which helped us so that our deficit wasn't as large. So that fund balance should hold us, yes.
Okay.
Okay, we ready for resignations?
So you noticed that I passed out 2 letters that were given to you at the beginning of the meeting. I received Molly's on Saturday, the reading specialist at Center School, who is taking a position as an assistant principal in the Timberland School District.
Anybody have any questions about that one?
Move to accept the resignation of, I don't know how to
Molly
pronounce.
Termotion.
Molly Termotion.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
The second letter that you received was surprising to me, only that I heard about it when I was away last week, and that I heard that she was looking for a position closer to her home. She lives in Maine, and I understand that she is trying to get closer to home with her young family. You know, it came in yesterday at 2 o'clock. I mean, right under the wire. According to their collective bargaining agreement, they do have until July 15th. I am very concerned about finding a replacement for a speech-language pathologist. This is not going to be easy to find, and if we can't find it, we will have to do contracted services, which becomes very costly.
I'll move to accept the resignation of Hillary Bascom.
Second.
All those in favor? Do we have any?
Thank
We
you.
don't have any nominations?
We do not at this time.
Okay. All right. Does everybody have their policies from last month? So these are second read. We have creation of communication plans, facilities development goals, and preparation of CIP, which is a revision, staff conduct, which is a revision, and employee use of social networking sites, also a revision.
I would move all four unless someone wants to pull one out.
Second.
Okay.
Second, okay.
Anyone have any questions about them, comments? Nope. Okay. Easy peasy, all in favor? All right.
Thank you.
All opposed? Andrea, you good? It's okay. Okay. All right, all four passed. We're actually rolling right along tonight, which is great. Let's take a look at minutes, regular meeting minutes from June 18th. Do I have a motion to accept? Anybody have any questions, any changes, comments?
I would move them as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay. All right. You're
And-
all
and-
good?
And just FY, this is the first set of minutes
Yes.
from the new,
I'm Danny Albright.
Person.
Yep,
Yep.
our new
Yep.
accounts payable payroll person.
They look good?
Yeah, she's doing a really nice job.
All right. All in favor? Okay. We have minutes of the non-public session. Oh, did you, Molly, did you? Yes, so four yes, one abstain. Okay, and minutes from the non-public session. Do I have?
I'll move to accept the minutes from the non-public session.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Okay. Abstained? All right. Let's see. So I think all we have left to do, it does not appear we have anyone here for public comment. So seeing none, I call non-public session under RSA 91-A:3, 2A. Roll call?
yes?
Yes.
Aye. Yes.
Yes.
And we're out.
I will make a motion that we adjourn at 7:16.